Welcome to the LDS Mental Health Podcast. This is a podcast for faithful women who want healing in their relationships, guidance from God, and internal peace. Each week, you'll hear mental health concepts taught through a spiritual lens from me, a licensed clinical mental health counselor, to help you start thinking in a higher and holier way. Welcome. On this episode, we will be discussing grief and the holidays. If you haven't already, I hope you've listened to last week's episode of the podcast where I talked with Amber Jackson about grieving through the Savior. She's such an amazing example of that. So I hope you go back and listen if you haven't. But for this week's episode, I want to talk more specifically about grieving in the holiday season. So grief is difficult no matter what, but can be especially difficult during the holidays. And I have received grief training for my job as a mental health therapist through the University of Utah's Caring Connections program. And I run grief support groups in my community. So the information that I share today came from that training, and I just wanted to give credit to them for the valuable information that you're about to receive today. So the holiday season can sometimes feel like this setback in the grief experience, and it can really bring up a lot of memories of the past or thoughts about the loss of what could have been, and a lot of expectations that you may not have the capacity to deal with. But that doesn't mean it's a setback in your journey of grief. It is actually just a different place in your grief journey. So the holidays in general come with stress, right? But adding grief into the mix can be unimaginable stress. So if you aren't prepared with some strategies, you might feel that overwhelm. Now, with that being said, there's not one right way or wrong way to experience the holiday season or grief for that matter. There will only be your way of experiencing the holidays through your grief, and that way will be the best way. So as I go through some of these strategies, keep that in mind. Take what works for you, throw out what doesn't. So the first strategy for grieving in the holidays is to honor your grief. Now that means to really think about what matters to you. What will be most meaningful and comfortable for you to experience? So keeping in mind what you really have that capacity to do this holiday season. So in this, you do want to consider those others or friends and family members who are also going through this loss, but without compromising your own needs in the process. And really that's an art of a skill in general, but one that will serve you well in the grieving process if you really work to develop. So this means trying to reach a consensus about what traditions to observe and what to throw out this year. Sitting down with the people who this may affect and asking them what's most important and meaningful to them to observe this holiday season, and which traditions do they not necessarily need to prioritize either. And you can always return to old traditions in another year. So honoring your grief also means giving yourself permission to grieve. This year, you don't have to be the strong one or the capable one. You too can show your grief. When others see you grieving, it also gives them permission to grieve. You don't have to hold it together for the holiday season to pass. You can allow yourself to continue through that grief process during the holidays. All right, I had to interrupt this episode for a quick reminder. The holidays are coming. They are fast approaching, and there are a few gifts that you're usually scrambling to think of ideas for last minute. And that's your friends, neighbors, or ministering sisters. Not this year, though. I have you covered. The Meaningful Prayer Journals are a powerful yet inexpensive gift that help your gift receiver build a stronger relationship with God through prayer so they can feel Christ's enabling power, see the hand of God in their life, and prioritize their day through the Spirit. And this is also a fabulous gift for Relief Society presidencies to give out. When you purchase in bulk for your Relief Society sisters, I offer a 25% discount off the journals. And this year, I'm even adding a free virtual fireside called 5 Ways to Hear Him More in Your Life. And you can schedule that fireside anytime in the next 6 months. So click the link in my show notes and order yours today. All right, back to the episode. All right, the second strategy for grieving in the holidays is to recognize that this year's probably going to be different, right? I know that seems obvious, but this really means sitting down and setting realistic expectations for yourself and of others. So first of all, grief consumes a lot of energy, right? So you're not going to have the stamina to do everything that you've done in the past. And letting people know what you will and won't be doing up front allows you to determine what you have the energy for, which means really looking and planning through the holidays ahead of time, trying not to let these days and events sneak up on you, sitting down sooner than later and really looking at what will you be participating in? What won't you be participating in this year? And this helps you not feel like you're missing out or disappointing people. Also, really look at those activities and obligations that deplete you. This may not be the year to do those activities. Really focus on those things which edify you and pour back into you. And also remember, you can always enlist the help and support of the people you trust. People are so willing to help when you are grieving, but often they just don't know how to help. So if you can give specific requests, they're often more willing to assist and help than you think. So this can help you meet some of those expectations you really want to make happen this year by enlisting their help. All right, for the third strategy to help grief this holiday season is to plan for your emotions and your memories. Making sure that you're setting aside time to allow the memories that will come and the powerful feelings that will arise. They're going to come, and often in powerful ways, right? So set aside that time, maybe even each day, to feel those feelings. Really being intentional about bringing up those memories. If you don't set that time aside to bring up those memories of the past holidays, your mind is going to bring them up in times that you aren't wanting them to. So maybe even taking time to remember your relationship in a way that's meaningful to you. All right, so being prepared for what you will do when these feelings come up, right? From songs, sights, smells, or locations that sort of bring up these memories, right? Or bring up these emotions, being prepared for that. So this means practicing skills that will help you to be prepared for how to process through emotions or to set aside that time that is more helpful for you. Also, when you're planning for emotions to come up, the best idea is to practice good self-care, right? Eating wisely, exercising, rest, being supportive with supportive people, seeking solitude, attending your spiritual needs, really caring for you might be the best gift you are given this holiday season. All right, that might have been like a lot of things, right? Like those are like a list of things that you could do. It's not meant to be a list of things that you need to do. Honoring your grief, recognizing that the holidays will be different and planning for that and planning for your emotions really are big concepts and aren't meant to be mastered. If you just take one idea from today, great. Just do what works for you. Also, if you know someone that might be going through a grief process themselves, and this would be a benefit for them, maybe send them the link to this episode and let them know that you're thinking of them. All right, I hope these last 2 episodes have been helpful for grieving and having some ideas and strategies that might be helpful for you. As always, share these episodes with anybody you think might benefit them, or reach out to me and let me know how this episode was a benefit to you. All right, hope you have a wonderful holiday season, and I'll see you next week. Thank you for listening to the LDS Mental Health Podcast. I hope you were able to find ways of healing, guidance, and peace. If you liked this episode, please share it with a friend who would love to start thinking in a higher and holier way as well. Or hit that follow button so you don't miss out on any episodes. Also, check out the links in my show notes for other episodes you might like and links for other mental health resources on my website.